There's some questions I want to pose, and I really love journaling exercises with this, so I'm going to go through them slowly because I feel like if you can write them down, probably won't have too much time necessarily in this conversation to really spend some time with them, but at least write these journal entries down so that you can come back to them and really spend some serious time with them. I want us to really sit with the fact that we all have the right to be rich. We are all afforded that opportunity. That opportunity is not denied of anyone. We are all afforded the opportunity and the right to be rich. You already have it. You are already abundant. You can already sit with what it feels like in your imagination for embodying wealth and what that gets to look like for you. So the more you can actually do this, even in your imagination, the more you will start to change your patterns, your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions, your habits, and the results that you will see in life when you start with the inside of embodying wealth and what that gets to look like for you. So in knowing that you have the right to be rich, I have the right to be rich. Imagine how your life looks and how you make decisions differently when all the bills are paid, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in your bank account alone in your name. You have investments, you have no debt, and you don't go to a job every day. What does life get to look like at that point when you have all of your excuses removed? And this is what I hear a lot. There are a lot of excuses around, well, I can't eat healthy enough because I don't have the money, or, I can't go to the gym to get the trainer I want because I don't have the money, or, I can't seem to pay off this debt because I don't have the money, or I can't save because I don't have the money, or I can't buy a new home because I don't have the money. It's so many limitations we put on ourselves. I've done the same, so I get it. I've been there. I've done that. And if we instead take a look at our lives and imagine what is possible if the decision making we had to do every single day looked differently because everything was already taken care of. And if we had a trust and belief that everything was already taken care of, our lives would be dramatically different because we're making different decisions. So the more you can sit in that energy of what does life look like, what can you imagine it to be like if you're making different decisions because everything is already taken care of, that is when there's this pivotal moment of you unlock something within you of how much greatness you have inside of you, the power within yourself. So here's the journal questions. What do you do with your time? If you're imagining this, you're living your greatest version of your life. If all the bills are taken care of, everything's taken care of from a financial angle, your safety and security is taken care of, what do you do with your time? And the next question is, what do you do with your body? And what I mean by that is, do you eat differently? Do you exercise differently? Do you operate differently? If everything's already taken care of, do you go all in on facials? Do you go all in on whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter because the money piece is taken care of. How do you operate differently? Anything is on the table, anything is possible, and you are worthy of that. You are worthy of being rich. You are worthy of feeling amazing, looking amazing, being amazing, because that's what equaling embodying wealth looks like. I want to make a caveat here that I'm not suggesting you go get into debt to do all the things to make yourself feel incredible and amazing and all the spa stuff. But I am suggesting that the moment you can start allowing yourself to believe that is even possible is when you start thinking differently about the decisions that you're making each and every day. And what my experience is of many of us, especially initially in the awareness phase, when we're not even aware of what embodying wealth looks like and feels like, is we don't even believe everything I just mentioned is possible. We do not believe it's possible at all whatsoever. So that's where I want you to go, is to create that awareness around what would I do differently? How would I take care of my time? How would I take care of my body? Do I take care of myself better? If I am thinking of and being this embodiment of a wealthy woman, what does that look like for me in my situation, for you in your situation? Because it will look differently for all of us, and that's totally okay. And the next kind of layer of that is asking ourselves the question of, what's the current standard of living but right now that you're living in, but also does it change if you have money in your bank account? If you have more than enough money, if you are rich, what is the standard of lifestyle that you lead at that point? This is where those false limitations come into play, is if we are believing that all we've created so far up until this point in our lives is what's possible, but we can't foresee or imagine or create anything more, then we will never go beyond what we've created so far in our lives. We may always have the same struggles. We may always have those same limitations if we can't continue to embody more and more and more of what being a wealthy woman looks like and feels like and can be expressed through our own ways of doing it. And it's going to look different for every one of us. And knowing that it's going to look different for every one of us, I really encourage you to do two things. One, stop comparing yourself to what you think it should look like based on how someone else is living their life, because you get to sit with how you want it to look. And two, you also get to find someone either in your network or someone you look up to, specifically someone you look up to, that can help you expand into what is possible with being a wealthy woman, with what that feels like and looks like. Someone who's not too far ahead of where you're at, but is really doing something different, really carries herself well, is still loving, is still kind, is still a peaceful, whatever the words are that you like to use for what your core values are, type of human being. You get to level up into what that person is also doing and embodying. And the reason I say specifically what you are looking for is because we often compare ourselves to someone we don't want to be like, right? Because we're telling ourselves a story of, I would never want to be like that person who is wealthy because they are judgmental, they're a terrible human, they're greedy, they're blah, 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 the laundry list, right? You do want to find someone to expand you into what's possible with building wealth, who is what you would want to embody, that loving, peaceful, generous, whatever those words are for you, look-alike human being. And it doesn't have to be super far removed from where you're at, right? We're not talking about you go from $80,000 a year to $1 million a year. We're talking about find someone either on Instagram. I mean, we have access to loads of people these days on Instagram, someone somewhere who is a little bit further ahead, not multiple millions of dollars ahead, just a little bit further ahead, that you could see yourself, you could imagine that possibility of making $200,000, making $500,000, whatever the number is for you. Going back to standards of living, how does that look? How does that get to be different? Does it get to be different? I am kind of at this point where I am no longer available to listen to people to fight for their limitations, right? If you want to fight for your limitations, if you want to fight for all the reasons why you can't do something, that's not available for me. That's not available for you either, but if that's where you want to sit and live, then that's your standard. I'm only available to listen to you fighting for your opportunities, your possibilities, and guiding you on that journey. So I want to encourage you to share those pieces of your journey, not to say that you can't share like the hard parts or the parts of shame, the parts of guilt. We want to see all sides of that, but what I don't want is for us to fight for our limitations and to fight for what's not working, because that's some of the language that we've seen in here, is constantly being at this kind of edge of, I can't do it, I don't know, like there's so much of I can'tness that's happening and unworthiness that, yes, that exists. And we are all very aware of where we get to go next. But for whatever reason, some of us are still fighting for those limitations. So that's what I want us all to hold each other accountable to on a very high level and standard of, we get to embody wealth. When that begins to happen within you, and I know when it happens in me, the I can'ts or I shouldn'ts or I don't knows, it's okay, well, what can I do? Well, what can I bring forth within me and move into based on what I have right now, right in front of me? That's when you have the shifts, because when you have the awareness to do that, and now I'm creating awareness for you, so it's magical. That's when we begin to shift our ways of being. That's when we begin to shift into embodying wealth. And sometimes it's as simple as I don't know the answer. I don't know how it's going to happen. But what I do know is I get to be a wealthy woman. I am embodying what a wealthy woman looks like. And so that's the what I get to do. I get to embody being a wealthy woman. And I know why I'm doing it. The what and the why. The how is in between. I don't know how to do half the things I've been doing. I've just been attempting, right? Failing forward. And that's what's so beautiful about this. You just get to remind yourself and be aware of what you are doing, what you want, and why you want it. And what I want is to be a wealthy woman, and I am embodying that on a daily, consistent basis. And why I want it goes so deep within my soul, within my spirit, of creating this environment for all of us as very successful, financially healthy women who all embody wealth, who all see that as possible for ourselves. So the more of us that can really see that that is possible, the better. That's what I want.